To the podcast, hablemos de lo nuevo. 40Gs, G's que pasa en el terreno. Vienen jugadores y se van, traiga lo nuevo a huevo. Doesn't matter where you from, Salvador, Mexico, Honduras, Nicaragua. Todo mi latino, come and listen for an hour. TikTok, que traemos lo que quiere. Todo lo que pasa dentro y fuera de las redes. Really? You don't know what it is. Reportamos con la lupa what we see at the digs. En las buenas y en las malas yo diré la verdad. Si cometen un error o tienen habilidad, la calidad del rival cuando viene a jugar. Facts. Yo no me muerdo la lengua. Got love for the crest in the city I came from. Los campeones de campeones y con copas mi race. No empezamos el programa, soy la voz de LA One. Soy la voz de LA One. Love. Yeah.
Hello, hola, and buenas. You should be smiling if your team is in first place in the Western Conference right now. Hello to all you LA Galaxy fans and all you Lacuna Galaxians, wherever you may be. Thank you once again for popping in and hanging out with me and my co-host, Anana Kirana, while we break down another wonderful Galaxy victory. Today, we're going to be reacting to that victory, an impressive 3-1 road win against the Vancouver Whitecaps. A big, comprehensive victory that moves the Galaxy back to the top of the table and showed LA's character to bounce back after an emotional El Tráfico loss. But before we get to everything else, let me bring back that co-host that I told you guys about just now, El Gitano Perdido, El Yerno Guapo, Anandita Kirana. ¿Cómo te sientes, papá? First place.
¿Cómo me siento? Pues mira, tengo una pregunta para ti, Roberto. You are the one that always the one that asking questions. Now I'm going to ask you a question, papá.
Okay.
¿Hace frío? ¿Hace un poco frío?
Yes.
¿Hace frío encima de conferencia oeste de MLS, del techo, de ático, de encima de todo? Hace un poco de frío, ¿qué te parece?
Brr at the top. Brr at the top.
That's all I gotta say, man. It feels a little cold. That's all I gotta say. It feels a little cold. It's a little lonely up here, but we have the top.
It's lovely because, again, just from where we were last year to this year, beautiful, right? And this is Sparta, man. Like big old kick out, with the Sparta foot and everything. Man, the Galaxy did it. I mean, we spoke about it on the pod before, and none of us had faith. Alexander, myself, Ananda, we definitely didn't see it coming, and it's beautiful.
Glad we were wrong.
Yeah, I'm so glad we were wrong. But you know what? Before we get into everything, before we break out into everything and tell you, just big up this Galaxy team for doing what they did. Of course, Ananda has to take care of a couple of pieces of little housekeeping here before we get going. Anandita, I invite you, sir.
That I do. And while I do that, because since I did say, it feels a little cold, feels a little lonely here at the top. So Romri, if you get that reference, but it is a little cold. And what's funny is I think I'm going to make that my one word match reaction, man. Cold, like cold blooded. That's my reaction to that match. Like that was a cold blooded performance. That team was cold. JP was cold, man, with his finishing. I mean, we'll talk about Riqui Rocket later. I mean, just the whole team, like cold. I mean, I heard because I saw shout out to the Nag boys. I saw Edgar was up there from Nags. Edgar Nags was up there, and he said that he brought the California sunshine to Vancouver, so it wasn't as cold up there, but cold in more facets than one. So while I'm doing the housekeeping, guys, of course, those of you in the chat, please do give us your one word reaction, and we'll shout those out for sure. And I'm gonna ask Robert for his as well. But of course, housekeeping, you guys can always follow me, block me, or stalk me at Ananda Galaxiana. Let me take that banner off right there so you can see that on the bottom of my window there. And then, of course, you can always follow us at La Cuna Galaxiana on all your favorite socials, the MySpace, the Vine, all that good stuff. We're all over. We're trying to be like the Starbucks of podcasts. We're trying to be everywhere, on every street corner.
Well, you know what? I do gotta jump in right here and say thank you so much to everybody that has subscribed. I mean, it's funny. Like we just really just enjoy getting together and hanging out with y'all and hanging with chat. But we would be remiss if we didn't say thank you to everybody that subscribed. Thank you to everybody that's, liked the video. Thank you for everybody that's, watched an episode, whether it's at the gym, whether it's in your car, whether it's hanging out with the homies, with the fellow G's. Thank you so much. We are fast approaching our 100th show. And maybe that's because I get a little sentimental around these things, but I just wanted to take a moment to say big ups to you guys out there for making this possible, for making what we do fun, basically. So, corazoncitos.
Yeah, no, for sure. And to that point, obviously you guys have found our YouTube channel, and if you guys like what you're seeing, like what you're hearing, go ahead and just before we get too far into this, go ahead and hit that like button and help us out, help this little teeny tiny podcast grow. And of course, if you haven't subbed to us, as Robert said, go ahead and give us a sub as well, so you will find out whenever we go live and all that good stuff. And put someone on too, share this throughout your socials, or send a text message to someone, send them the link. Definitely put someone on if you like what you're hearing. And we always try to spread the good vibes here. Really quick, it's Chris. One phrase of the match instead: hold my beer. Very nice, sir. Nicely done. Yeah, for sure. We'll get into all that good stuff later. But Roberto, the thing that you always ask me to do, como siempre, antes de olvidarme, buenos días, tardes o noches.
I knew you would do it.
Y bienvenidos a otro La Cunita, otro capítulo de La Cunita, un match reaction. I don't know if it's going to be La Cunita because, man, I know you and I are both giddy about this match, about where the Galaxy are at this point of the season. But let's get to it, man. But before we get to it, Rob, I do want your one-word match reaction because, like I said, mine was cold-blooded, cold, or however you want to call it. But that was cold, man.
I think I'm going to say professional. And what I mean by that is, well, you know what? I'll talk about it later. I'm going to keep it strictly there. One word match reaction, professional. We'll get into it.
Cool.
So I'm going to take it away, man, because like I said, I want to focus on this game. I want to focus on what this team did well, and big up them. Like I said, we calls them out on them when they mess up, and we big up them when they don't. So here we go. Happy effing birthday to Lord Ethan Zubak, the king of Corona, California. Turns 26 today. Played 36 times for Los Angeles Galaxy. Scored 3 goals and had an assist, including one. If you're watching this, you see it on the screen there, that goal that he scored against LAFC. If you're not, if you're listening to this, Lord Ethan Zubak did have that on his resume. Scored against LAFC and in El Tráfico. So big ups to him. Happy birthday to him. He's currently at Orange County. And you know what? We have a couple friends of the show that are Orange County owners, like Andrew Hernandez and Eli Lesser. So you know what? I'm sure they get their fill of Lord Ethan Zubak over there. And you know what? We might have to go check him out too. Big Cameron Dugbar's over there, and a couple XG. So who knows? We'll have to pop up over there, Ananda. And really quick, not to backtrack, but since we're talking about popping up places, we are popping up in Austin. We've already let you know we are going to be there. And this weekend, Ananda trained a tad bit for Austin SADA. You know what? I'm just gonna say, could have gone better. It was kind of like the first scene in Beer Fest where it's like the first training and stuff like that. It could have gone better for us, but by Austin, he will be a champion. I guarantee you. SADA. See Ananda, drink Ananda. We're gonna get him. Here we go. So we've brought this one to you guys already. Armenian Heritage Night is happening on Cali Clásico Day, April 21st. The first 1,500 tickets sold come with a special Armenian Heritage Night mug. This mug is pretty cool. Comes with the Armenian flag on the mug, and then the LA Galaxy crest, quasars, and the Armenian flag colors as well. $5 from every ticket will be donated to Hake for Our Heroes. They're a nonprofit based here in Los Angeles, whose mission is to strengthen Armenia through a united diaspora. Go ahead, and if you're so inclined, go ahead and pick up these lovely mugs through the ticket link at lagalaxy.com. Also at lagalaxy.com, there's Galaxy Open Training. Look for this in your Galaxy emails. This is for season ticket members. Currently accepting open training requests till April 23rd is the Galaxy. And then, I'm sorry, this is for the training session on April 23rd. They're still accepting applications till April 16th. So that is by this time of the recording tomorrow. So go ahead and get them in there. You can request the number of season seats on your account. And it's a wonderful opportunity to go ahead and meet your favorite G's. I mean, Edwin Cerrillo, Riqui Rocket, who just, was the magician this weekend. So you know what? If you want to meet some of your favorite G's, go ahead and sign up for this and see if you get picked. 2 more sessions on June 25th, on August 20th, just in case you don't. Kick a Ball Pod is back with us. Thank you so much. Paintsel is a baller and says Vamos Ventura County FC first game and VC Friday. You are a witch because you knew I was going to talk about VC FC
or Wizard or Wizard. Which one?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because in Spanish it's brujo, right? In Spanish it's brujo and bruja.
Yeah.
Right? So
yeah.
So
or Wizard.
Think of the word.
Like Harry Potter, because I know you're on your Harry Potter marathon right now. Chat. Yeah. In case you didn't know, Robert is 6 out of 8 Harry Potter movies.
I've never seen him, fam. Never seen him. I'd never read him. My wife was a huge fan, and so she had been on me like, "Hey, let's watch the Harry Potters," and I was like,
But anyways, But anyways, amazing segue there, Kick a Ball Pod. So back over to you, my friend.
Yes, but since you brought up wifey, Ananda, I do got to say one thing before I go any further. I would like to say thank you to my wonderful wifey for a beautiful 7 years. Today is our anniversary.
Oh, and there you go.
Yeah, so 7 years ago today, she made me the luckiest G in the world. Scored a golazo. And she said yes. So thank you so much to her, and damn baby girl.
Awesome.
So she's in chat.
She's in chat. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. Well, thank you. Yes, I love you too.
Anyway, and Tony says congrats.
Oh, hey, thank you, Tony. Thank you. So you know what? That's why you always see me being my best behaved self out there in the streets, everyone. Because baby girl, 7 years strong. So like Kick a Ball Pod said, brought up Ventura County. Like Ananda said, amazing segue. So yes, Ventura County was back in action this past weekend with El Traficito. They lost 2-1, however, just like their big bros. Already down 2-0 towards the end of the match. Aaron Bibu scored a goal in the 83rd minute. In the 89th minute, Carson Klein got a red card, making the comeback that much harder. This team was without Gino Vivi, Jonathan Perez, and Mauricio Cuevas, however. So you know what? That was going to be a tall order. Some of these players are on the fringes of the Galaxy team, and we did see Mauricio Cuevas in this match over the weekend. So that defeat makes VCFC no longer unbeaten, but they are still in first place with the 4-1-1 record. They're on 12 points, 1 point ahead the team they just lost to, LAFC 2. The other big thing that happened in this match, Ananda, I don't know, dude. Can you guess what it is?
The truth.
Yes, the return of the truth.
Yes. Yeah, where's Eddie Nags when you need him with that sound effect?
Exactly. We don't have the sound effect right now. So yeah. Right. So anyway, yes, the truth has returned. He sees his first couple minutes of action since he went down with an injury. I think it was like 5 or 6 matches before the end of the season last year. He entered the match for VCFC in the 67th minute when they're already 2-0 behind. But it was really fun to see him partner with for Candace for the first time in a while. So you know what, he is making his way back slowly but surely to the Galaxy first team, and we will probably about a week or 2 weeks away from seeing him proper. But just like Kick a Ball Pod said, yes, there is a first game in Ventura County Friday for VCFC. They have a new stadium partnership with Cal Lutheran University. They'll be playing at William Rowland Stadium in Thousand Oaks, California. That home opening day is May 19th at 5 p.m. where they host Real Monarchs. The last game here at the Digs will be Saturday, April 20th against Sporting KC 2. So go ahead and check that one out. I know Galaxy Mom has been sounding the alarm for that one. So if you are available, go ahead and hit this one up on 420 against Sporting KC 2. Show VCFC some love. It's getting more natural now, and I'm saying VCFC rather than Galaxy 2.
And and shout out Galaxy Mom. She was on Corner of the Galaxy spreading the good word. And it's a free game. Admission's free, parking is free. And from what she said, they're pretty lax on you bringing in your own food. So yeah, it's sounds like a great time. I think Robert, you and I have got to get out to a VCFC game sooner rather than later, and see those some of those boys play, like Harbin Miller, etc. So,
well, yeah, like we said, and some of the Galaxy depth players like Mauricio Cuevas and Harbor Miller, who's a first team player, but he's loaned down to G2. Jonathan Pettis and Gino Vivi, they're playing in these matches, right? So it's an opportunity to see these players develop, and in a couple of years they'll be in the Galaxy first team and killing it. So, so some other people that are going to kill it. The G's Run LA, they have their next event on April 20th at 9 a.m. at the Rose Bowl. This one is open to all levels, open to walkers and runners, just like it always is. 2 tracks for you guys that want to do go Charlie Hustle. You have the 5-mile track, and then you also have the regular 5K track. On April 27th they'll be doing it again. That one's going to be at Absolution Brewing, and you know what, it's high time since I've been, so I'm gonna have to get back out there again. Drake, hopefully you'll be there again to be the angel on my shoulder and not let me die. Congrats. Nah, for real though, man. Congrats to Diego Fagundez, Dieguito, uruguayo, el Charúa, que se convirtió en el 10º jugador en la historia de la MLS en grabar 70 goles y 70 asistencias. That's 70 goals and 70 assists, guys. Becomes the 10th player in MLS history to do it. Diego actually has 73 assists. And with his goal in the 82nd minute, he writes himself into the history books. He sits in good company, Ananda. He's chilling with people like Kobe Jones, Landon Donovan, Jaime Moreno. I mean, these are some of the legends of the league, So he is in great company, and it's crazy to think he's not even 30 yet. So I mean, he's just like he said, he just has a lot of miles on his legs. He's not old.
And he's been in the league for a long time, man, ever since I think he made his breakthrough at 16. And I think this is just a testament to his longevity in terms of keeping himself in shape, both physically and mentally, right? And you and I saw this firsthand. I was very impressed with how he looked in Coachella in preseason, coming off of as we understand it now, a pretty difficult time personally in terms of his move and getting himself settled here in LA. But man, you could tell his work ethic is really up there, and he really puts in the work. And we saw the fruits of that labor early in preseason Coachella. And I'm so happy to have him as a 4th attacker. I mean, imagine having a guy coming like that off the bench. That's a great weapon to have. So yeah, congratulations to Diego for sure on that achievement.
Yeah, you mentioned his longevity. 366 MLS regular season matches played, with 272 of those being starts. He's 20th all time among active. In 20th all time in MLS history for players with those 366 matches. So and he's not close to being done yet. So I mean,
yeah.
He mentioned he's trying to go for 80 and 80 club now, which I mean, he says if it doesn't happen this year, we're going for it next year, and I believe he's going to get it. I mean, this Galaxy team has the tools to get him there.
For sure.
So congratulations to Diego Fagundez. Like you said, we're lucky to have him right now. What an option to bring off the bench, right? And then if any of these players goes down or goes on international duty, what an option to there's last year so many times we talked about, wow, what a drop off, right? And no shade, right? But what a drop off from this player to this player. I mean, there's Diego does his job. He goes out there and he scores his goals, he gets his assists, he works hard, and he's, like you said, Ananda, in great shape right now. So
Yeah.
felicidades, Diego. Big ups to you, man. And then Ananda, I think it's time to get into game time, man.
Let's
It's
do
time
it.
it's time to talk
Into the
about
good
what
stuff.
we're really here for. It's time to celebrate. I mean, only 8 matches in, and this Galaxy team is showing us who they are. We said a bunch of times at the beginning of the year, ask me in a month and a half. Well, it's been a month and a half.
Yeah.
I don't know if you tracked it, but it's been a month and a half. It's I mean, in 10 days it'll be 2 months actually. So it's a little over a month and a half.
Yeah.
And this Galaxy team showed us who they are by going to Canada and winning in a place they hadn't won in a good long while, and doing it in a convincing way. Let's break into the first thing, man. How did Greg line us up?
Yeah, well, let's take a look at it. We have the graphic here on screen. So for those of you on audio that can't see this, I mean, obviously, if you did watch the game, you knew what the lineup was, but just to kind of rehash that and going into this match, I mean, I think you and I, because we were watching this game together,
and I.
Exactly. So apropos, right? Especially with JP getting team of the match week, which we'll talk about later. Yeah, so I think this is our strongest lineup. I think other than Jalen Neal, of course, when he comes back, I think this is. I don't know if we've played this strong lineup maybe one other time. I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly. I feel like this is the first time, right? With
together
with Cáceres and Yoshida as the center back partnership, and
yeah,
you've got the Killapis up top with Brugman and Delgado. Yeah, and so no surprises here from a lineup perspective. I think this is probably the strongest 11 that we could have put out. Yeah, I mean, no surprises for me. The one thing that was not surprising but kind of unfortunate from Vancouver's perspective was I think they lined up pretty much how we expected, or pretty much how Alexander expected as well when we talked earlier this week, Robert. But I think that early Fafa Picault injury, I think it really set them back, and I think it changed their game plan quite a bit. So that was sort of a lineup note for them. And, they brought in your countryman, Vite, but, he just doesn't have the same impact as Pico. He's not the same player.
And he didn't have a great game either. I mean, I remember they were kind of talking him up in one phase of the match. And in the next moment, he gave the ball away. But he gave the ball away a couple of different times. It wasn't his best match.
Not the same player. Yeah. But in terms of for us, like we said, strongest lineup that we could put out, right?
Yeah, and that's taking Jalen Neal into consideration, who's on his way back. It's really up in the air at that point what Greg does. Who he starts. And I would think it would be between Martin and Jalen rather than Maya and Jalen. But
and then we've got Garces to come in there too. So I think center back wise, if everyone's healthy, pretty decent in that department.
Yeah, when just a couple of days or just a couple of shows ago, we were like, what are we going to do for a center back? Although our good friend El Profe Alex Ruiz did bring up that the Galaxy did not have a recognized center back on the bench for this match. So if something happened, then it was right back to Cedillo in as a center back, So anyway, but yeah, the Galaxy went with their strongest available lineup on paper, and it worked out for them, to say the least. The first place Galaxy, and I think we're just gonna have to say that from now on, in reference to them. Every time we say the Galaxy, we're gonna have to say the first place Galaxy. Just like I made a rule at my house. Yeah, just I made a rule at my house at one point. That whenever you reference Nicolas Cage, you had to say Academy Award winner Nicolas Cage. So I think we're going to do the same thing here. The first place LA Galaxy earned a 3-1 road win over Vancouver. We're breaking down here this match summary for you guys that didn't get a chance to watch the game. They r- swept to victory off the strength of a 3 second half goals. They scored 2 goals and 2 second half minutes. Of course, JP Jopan Joseph Pensos scored the game winning goal. Riqui Pooch, the little magician, geez, man, he pulled some stuff off, pulled some passes out. He registered 2 assists. Dejan Jovic scored his team leading 6th goal of the season, and he's tied for the Golden Boot at the moment. However, there is a wrinkle on Nanda. The team did give up another set piece goal, which makes 7 on the year now. They're the worst in the league on giving up set piece goals. I don't know if you could say they lead the league. I don't think that's the right way to phrase that. So, I think they have the unfortunate title of being the leader in set piece goals conceded. However, Maya Yoshida personally had a pretty decent game, 95% pass accuracy rating, and won 4 of 6 aerial duels and 4 possessions. And he also registered a game high 8 clearances. Like I mentioned about Mal Cuevas, who got some game time in this one, he made his 2024 MLS regular season debut, getting 4 minutes as a sub in this one. So, Ananda, let's break this game down, man. I said earlier at the top of the show, when you asked me what I thought about this game, I said it was professional, right? And now I'll explain. There was very little that happened in the first match, the first half. I would dare even say that Vancouver had the better chances in the first half. John McCarthy did really, really well to keep us in this match. But in the lead up to this match, Greg had been talking about patience, and I think that the Galaxy showed that patience, and I think they got the reward from it. Of course, Dejan Jovic got his 6th goal in the 56th minute. This one unfurled basically how they got all their goals. Riqui just driving up the middle. He feeds Gabriel Pecky, and Pecky's left-footed shot is parried away. Dejan Jovic is right place, the right time, just tucks it home for the 1-0. And really, I don't really think he caught more than 2 or 3 touches in the opposition third, right?
Yeah, I think Alex Ruiz said on Corner of the Galaxy he only got 2 touches, and the first it's 2 touches inside the opposition penalty box, and his first touch was the goal. So there you go.
Hey, yeah, no,
but
I mean
that's what he's there for. He's a striker, though, right? That's where you want him.
Right?
Yeah, that's where you want him. Exactly.
I mean, what good is it if he gets 20 touches in there if none of them are good, right? I mean,
exactly.
He got 2 touches, he put 1 away. That's efficient. I love it.
Yep.
So, hey, Marvin, hey, ¿cómo estás, papá? He says we need taller players to defend better, man. Fagundez was like 2 feet away from that centro.
However, talk about that in a second.
Yeah. However, yes, we are going to talk about it right now. So I was just about to say the Galaxy can now hold on to the lead after Dejan's goal, right? They wasted it. They said no, we're not going to give you the game winner because Brian White. We were watching this game in Spanish, and they kept on referring to Brian White as the White Wolf, and I loved, I loved it, bro. Because the White Wolf, and I was like, yes, I love this. They were saying it, and I was like, dang, why can't English announcers be like that? But anyway, Brian White scores off the set piece corner kick, just like we knew they would at some point. It's like, I mean, they even talked about it in game. It's like, Brian White's dangerous. And you just let him get it. You just let him get up. However, like I said, I was gonna mention something. I think there was a foul on this play, and I called it out to you when we were watching this game. I think, first off, who was it that I said fell? Julian Aude?
Julian Aude fell. Yeah. So that was his marker. He was on Brian White. Yeah.
Exactly. So I mean, Julian Aude goes down. Brian White streaks through, and Diego Fagundez tries to pick him up, but I don't think he was like expecting him to cut through like that.
Yeah.
And he just gets up over Diego and he puts it away. Man, so do they need taller players? I don't know. They need something. That's 7 in the
I mean, but it's not like Martin and Maya are short either, and then you've got Julian Aude, who unfortunately fell over in that play. I mean, Julian is, I think, close to 6 foot,
Fell
right? Or
over
6 foot.
or pushed over?
Fell over, yeah, or pushed over, exactly. So, but yeah, it's not like we have short players. I think though the midfielders, yeah, I think if you look at like we have mostly like technical sort of like low center of gravity players like Riqui, for example, and Gaston and Mark aren't that tall. So yeah, but again, I think set pieces is a team thing. I'm gonna honestly on that set piece goal, I think I'm gonna give it more to the offense. That was a really, really good header by Brian White. I mean, fair play to them, and I mean he's a really good target on the header, and he had a lot to do, and man, that was a really, really good header in the far post. I'm gonna give it up to the offense on that one.
The White Wolf. Yeah, well, the White Wolf ties it up in the 70th minute. And like I said, it was every time the Galaxy gave up a corner, I was like, here it comes. Here it comes.
Yeah, White was bound to score too, Tony said. Yep, totally.
Yeah, and he had his chances. I mean,
It was coming.
he had a corner, not a corner. He had a whipped ball in the first half that he puts over that Martin gets his head on as well. He had a one-on-one against McCarthy. Yeah. I mean, and we'll talk about McCarthy too.
Yeah, but, first half he had that Ryan Gauld floater and over the top of Mayashida's head, and he puts it far post wide. So he was knocking on the door for sure.
Yeah, it was coming, and then it happened. The 77th minute, he got his goal. I think he's 2 goals away now from being the record holder over there in Vancouver. So, at some point though, they'll throw him a big party, and Vancouver thought they were heading for their own party after he scored. I mean, again, I just mentioned McCarthy, basically denying him one-on-one. McCarthy denied him a couple of times. McCarthy denied a couple of Vancouver players to keep the Galaxy in this match at 1-1. However, on one of these plays, McCarthy makes the save, and I think it was on the second play, the third goal, right, Ananda, where McCarthy starts to play, or was it the second?
It was the second goal. No. Oh, you mean where he makes the save and we score on the other end?
Yes.
That was our first goal, I believe, actually, sir. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think it was our first.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was because it was at 0-0. The game was still in the balance at that time. And yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the first. Because the second, Riqui puts him like square through with that ball, and we were having a period of sustained possession at that point. So yeah, it was the first.
Yeah, apparently the second goal, well, Vancouver scores in the 77th. They don't get to enjoy it for much time because Riqui just pulled some magic out of his hat. After 15 passes, the Galaxy, find Riqui in the middle of the pitch. Joseph Payne's still streaking through. He feeds him the through ball, and it's filthy. It is absolutely
pure filth,
magical filth. I mean, it's so much so that Vancouver players looked around like he's not offside, is he? Like, he's offside. That filthy.
Well, and did you hear the like collective gasp of like the Vancouver like it was magical, man.
Oh man, yeah, no, it was a lovely pass. And so puts the Galaxy up 2-1. So sorry. Had to break out real quick. Skidis says Ananda's still suffering from his SADA training. He might be. I mean, he's still hydrating right there. I don't know if you just saw him, but
yeah. By the way, I probably need like like we don't have like super chats or anything like that, but I probably need to start like my own coconut water fund because I love these from Costco, by the way. So yeah, I think I am just a little bit, Chris, but I gotta build up my tolerance. So there you go. Shout out, Chris.
And you know what? He did admirably. That's what he gave. Defending the badge to Ananda for trying hard on that one. So anyway, Galaxy go up 2-1. But you know what? The pass is magical, but then the composure from Joseph to receive the ball and just finish exactly, baby. You and I, unbreakable. I mean, just the composure to put it away, man. Just like those are the hardest ones to make, the ones where you like have the time to think about it. I mean, and he buries it. Stone cold, like you said. You mentioned at the top of the show, cold. Yeah, he was about his business. He put it away. Galaxy up 2-1 in the second half in the 80th minute, and Galaxy fans are starting to believe at this point, like dang, can these fools really get a result on the road where they haven't won in years? Yes, they can. You know why? Because Riqui Puig wasn't done. 2 minutes later, Riqui Puig hits Joseph Painso again on the right-hand side with a through ball through the lines. He releases Painso. Painso gets that one on the wing, and then he just plays it back across goal for Dieguito. Dieguito gets his goal in the 82nd minute, makes it 3-1, and becomes part of the 70-70 club. And Galaxy are on the way. 3-1 is where it finishes. And Vancouver had a couple chances again, like I said, but McCarthy for the most part did amazing to keep them out.
And Krylak makes an absolute sitter there at the
Oh
end.
yes, pa que lo traje? Like
Oof.
Krylak could have made that one 3-2 very easily. But you know what? It's like I told you when Jordan Morris missed for Seattle and in the very last moments as well. Like there is such thing as la suerte del campeón, and that's a wifey saying.
Yep, exactly. Mm-hmm.
That's a wifey saying. La suerte del campeón, the luck of the champion. Like when it's your year, when it's your time, and you're gonna get those lucky bounces. You're gonna get those moments where like, dang, how did this fool miss? I don't know how he missed, and then he just did. So
and the jinxing stops there, Papa, and that's where we're gonna end that statement for sure. Let's
man, I'm manifesting right now, right here. La sexta, let's go, vámonos. But you know what, Anda, I know you love to give your stats. So let me make you happy.
Let's celebrate with the boys with this picture. I love these team pictures like afterwards, and I'm sure this is how all the Galaxy fans are feeling. And look at Will Kuntz right there. You guys, looks like a Where's Waldo. He's right there in the middle.
Kuntz.
Will Kuntz. I think that's the first time I've seen him in these team photos. But yeah, man. I mean, I don't think it's too premature to celebrate stuff like this and to celebrate us being top of the West.
This is a big win.
We've got to ride this. Yeah, we talked about it coming this game. Like, neither you nor I nor Alexander expected this result, especially at BC Place. And we did, man. So, I mean, yeah, let's get into the stats in terms of how this game played out and how we got that victory. So here, I'm going to read it out for our audience that is on audio, of course.
Our audio listeners, thank you very much for hanging with us.
Yeah, because they don't want to see our faces, which is fine, which is totally fine. You don't need to see our hideous faces. You can always listen to us on audio. Where, by the way, Rob, I don't know if you've ever noticed, because I know you don't like listening to yourself, but we get that little extra bass in the audio version of this. So our voices are bassified. It's got 808 with 808.
If I brought it down here, then like on the audio version, it'd be even like deeper. Oh, that's
exactly. All right, let's get into these stats. So ball possession. So LA Galaxy I think you're gonna talk about it later, but man, we had like 70-30 or 80-20 like ball position in that first half. Ended up with
75-25.
Pretty crazy, man. But we ended up with 60% possession for us, 40 for them. Expected goals pretty close, 2.24 to 2.2 expected goals for Vancouver. They had 19 total shots to our 13. 7 of theirs were on target versus 5 for the LA Galaxy. But here we go again, Robert. Here comes the big chances stat again. So LA Galaxy, 4 big chances, and we only missed 1 of them, converting on presumably 2 or 3 of them. I don't know if 1 of the goals was counted as a big chance. I believe all 3 of them did count as big chances. Vancouver, and this is what Alexander was talking about in our preview, they had 3 big chances, but they missed all of them. So again, I think the ruthless streak that Vancouver was on kind of came to a halt in this particular case, thanks to John McCarthy, but also a little bit of luck, as we talked about with Krylak. Passing, we always dominate. I think this is a sign of us dominating another game. 571 passes to their 346 for an 89% pass accuracy. 8 fouls committed each for both team, and 10 corners for Vancouver versus 7 for the Whitecaps. So, I mean, if you look at it on paper, man, it's a pretty even game until you get to the big chances. And this is what I was talking about pre-match. I said, I felt like coming to this game, this would be an outburst of us actually finishing the chances that we've been creating before, that we've been missing. And the goals kind of came in bunches, right? We had a spell where we scored 2 goals in the last, I think the goals were, 4, I have to look at the stats again. I think it's, 4 or 5 minutes apart from each other. And we had that burst. And that's what created the separation, and that's what won us the game at the end. So I think that was the difference in Vancouver.
In this one,
yeah, in this
yeah,
one,
no, 2 minutes apart.
yeah,
2 minutes apart,
exactly.
the 80th and the 82nd. And you do. I want to say that you were a witch too, because you brought that up in our last pod, that this game was going to be in phases. A phase where they were testing each other out. A phase where it was going to be open.
All the first half. Yeah.
And in a phase where the Galaxy was going to put something together for quick goals, and that's kind of how it happened. So it is blew away.
Yeah, well, and it's funny because that and this is a good segue to one of the things that we wanted to talk about was, and this was something that I sort of thought about pre-match as you and I were kind of hanging out pre-match, and I had these thoughts, and I was like, man, like we've got to get off to a good start. And I think one of the things that we wanted to praise the Galaxy on was just not necessarily a fast start, but more of a controlled start. Right. And a big piece of that was not letting in an early goal. I mean, we saw what happened last year. I mean, I'm actually going to pull up my tweet now because I thought about like sort of our history on this game, this fixture, and Vancouver's form coming into this. Right. And so what I wrote in my tweet was quick notes heading to this LA Galaxy Vancouver match. Vancouver scored 2 goals in the first 10 minutes last year in this fixture, which completely just blew the tie open, and we had no chance after that, especially after the Chris Mavinga red card. And then I wrote, in their last 2 matches, Vancouver scored in their 6th and the 2nd minute at BC Place. And I said, this means we need to dictate the pace early, be responsible in possession, and not give up the early goal, which, Robert, we did that and more. I was very impressed. And I think there was a tweet about this too, where just the rhythm of our play and pace of play. I mean, we controlled that first half. We didn't create too much, but going into that half at 0-0, I felt pretty good, just because based off our performance and the patterns that I was seeing sort of on the pitch. And so that, even though we didn't get any clear cut chances, I say, okay, I like the way this game is going. I like the performance so far. Like we mentioned before, Pico was a big injury miss, I think, to their part, because that lack of speed on the counter on their end meant that Yamane wasn't going to get pinched back. Yoshida wasn't going to get in trouble in those one-on-one situations where Pico would go the other way. And I think that was a big miss for them. But man, I was just really happy about this start. And I know you were too, because, we were sitting next to each other and we did talk about this.
Yeah, no, it was a very good way to start. Like they've started very fast in a couple games, and they haven't been able to put away their chances, and gradually the foot has come off the gas pedal, right? And this one, it didn't really happen, and I was even more surprised that they were able to control the opening fastest of the game, because it was on the road, and they hadn't been good on the road at all in Vancouver. Just to illustrate this, in 16 all-time regular season matches played on the road against Vancouver, they hold a 5-7-4 record, 22 goals for, 27 against. But they've been kind of about their business on the road all year. They're the first and only team to get 3 road wins this year. They have a road record of 3-1-1. They already have more road wins in 2024 than in all of 2023. Wow. And 17 road matches played during 2023. They had a 2-9-6 record, already doing better than last year. And that's what you want to see from this team, right? Is progression, and you're seeing it right in front of your very eyes. Again, show us who they are. Show us who you are. They are. They're showing us who they are. They're a team that can go on the road, withstand pressure, withstand the big match, and get it. They definite statement bounce back from the previous week where they lost in El Tráfico. Like I mentioned, they're the only team in MLS with 3 road wins so far. And in these 5 matches, you're getting production from the people you're supposed to be getting production from. Joveljic has 4 goals and an assist. Painso has 2 and 2. Riqui Rocket has 2 and 3. I mean, this is, again, they did what they needed to do. They were very professional. They went somewhere that was very hard for them to win, and they got their first road win there since 2019. I mean, since 2019, and they're doing that consistently now, getting those wins in Seattle, getting that win against SKC, places where they hadn't won before, and they're standing up to those challenges and knocking them down. They're also the only team in MLS to score in their first 8 matches of the season. Their 17 goals this season ranks them behind only Inter Miami. And then they're scoring when they need to, right? Because they've scored 12 goals in the second half of matches. And then shout out to the Podfather who threw up the stat. They're 3-0-2 when scoring first in 2024. I mean, so they're definitely doing what they need to do. Again, professional performance all around from these guys. Real quick, want to go ahead and acknowledge El Profe Alexinho. Hey, he says, "Hey guys, we're glad you're with us, Alexinho." And then Tony actually brought one up. Very quiet game from Delgado.
I actually want to bring these two up because I thought this was interesting. I pulled them up here, so on the screen for the audio listener. So Tony said, "Very quiet game from Delgado," and then it's Chris said, "I was talking to a fellow GM at the York viewing party that Vanny needs to try what they did with SKC and overload the right side, and they did just that and led to our second or third goal." So part of the controlled start that you and I pointed this out to you, and you're like, "Huh, that's really interesting." Dude, I swear that's got to be like a voice effect. I just like trap myself into that one every time, huh? But anyway, so back to what Chris and Tony were saying. So it was interesting how the lineup was what it was, and we thought it was going to be a normal 4-3-3, but the interesting thing was how Vanny deployed that lineup, Robert. And what I saw, I tried to rewatch that first half, and man, it was like, for sure, what was clear was Paintsel was going a little bit more through the middle. He was not on the left wing.
Exactly.
In fact, Riqui Puig was occupying that left half space along with Julian Aude. He was basically like a left winger. I mean, he was playing up and down that left side. And what you saw was in buildup was a 3-2-2-3 or 3-2-4-1, however you want to call it. And what did I say last match in preparation for this match? I said the space in a 3-4-3 was going to be sort of in between the right midfielder or the left midfielder and the wide center backs, right? And so if you think about what Vanny did, he put two guys on that right side in that half space so that they can work off of each other, and the other two guys on the other side. And I think, and again, it was a formation thing, but it was really how the team executed. And going back to the controlled start thing, and I'll pull this tweet up because I think it's really apropos to what we're talking about. Bob Ventimiglia said that LA Galaxy passing is the fastest I've seen this season. See them doing well against pressing styles. When did they get so clinical? And this was the key, Robert, like our passing. So I want to go back to the point that Tony made. Very quiet game from Delgado. From a stats perspective, it definitely was. But if you watch the game, again, I watched that first half, and the patterns of play and the speed of pass, Robert, especially on a slow turf, it was beautiful to see, man. Like, you gotta, if you have time, just watch some of those patches of play, the positioning, the spatial awareness, the 1-2s, the playing off each other and the making the right decisions. Those things will not show up in the stat sheet, but boy, Brugman and Delgado played an excellent game. Feeding off of Riqui with those line breaking passes. And I thought they did a really, really good job. And I thought that formation not only freed up space for Paintsel, but as you and I talked about last time, we did not get our two DPs or two wingers involved against LAFC. They were much more involved this game. And that's, again, due to everyone's spacing. But as that tweet said, it was the speed of our passing. It was the intensity of our passing. And that's how we control that game really from start to finish, in my opinion.
Yeah, and the ability to know when to speed the game up and slow the ball and slow the game down. I mean, for the second goal, 15 pass sequence that leads to the goal. I mean, they weren't playing the ball quickly, but they were executing well. They were going into space for each other, and then finally, Julian Aude feeds Riqui Puig in the middle for the line breaking pass, and that's where the goal comes from. And that's a testament to what Greg was talking about. Just be patient. If it's not here on this side, go. I think I recognized on the play that they switched it twice, right? And looking for it, and then it eventually came. They recycled until they finally had it, and that's where they got their goal. I mean, and so again, professional, patient. I mean, I don't know what else I can say about the performance itself, collectively, other than that. And we'll talk about this in a moment, but I think it might be their best 90 minutes, of all year. Really quick, they're asking in the chat, Ananda. Tony Crespo's asking, I wonder who will be bringing in this Sunday to hype us up. As you guys know, all year they've been bringing in DJs to
Mhm.
hype up the crowd pre-game and for halftime and stuff like that. Marvin says this year the digs is starting to feel like a fortress again. Maybe it's a live DJ sets, but the stadium is electrifying again. And so that's what has the chat wondering who will be the DJ for this weekend. Of course, Marvin says that Los Hermanos Flores for Central America night would be madness. I agree. Let's bring them in. Los Cumbias, baby. Let's get them. Let's get them going. That'd be
That'd be
lovely.
wild.
And it would be wonderful to see Riqui just dance around to some cumbia, right?
I mean,
Because
this cat right here throwing up
oh
LA signs.
yeah, throwing up LA signs, throwing up just magical passes, just like he likes to do. Riqui Rocket, the prince who was promised, little Jimmy Neutron, Mister Take Your Girl. Call him what you want. He's gonna hit you with those passes. In the lead up to this match, Ananda, he got a lot of flack, a lot.
He did.
We even spoke about it on this pod, how in the previous El Tráfico, before going into that match, he had created 13 chances, and El Tráfico created 0. We questioned whether it was enough from him. Me cayó el hocico. Perdón, Riqui. Perdón. No dije nada. No te enojes conmigo. Por favor, perdóname. But you know what? if it's gonna take some gentle bullying to make him pull out these kinds of performances, I don't know. Do we need to do it a little more? I don't know. What do you think? I mean, do you think he silenced the doubters, his critics? Do you think this kind of performance is like a slap in the face for peeps?
Well, here's the thing I noticed about Riqui, and based off of like the likes that he has, so you can see like right on X, like what posts he likes and stuff. I mean, he loves this like sort of extra added motivation when he has people doubting him and stuff. And I did see a reaction to a tweet that he liked. I can't remember who posted it. But yeah, so I mean, I think he gets a little extra motivation out of the the little the bants, right, as we like to call it. But no, man, I think we can all agree though, to Ricky's standard, we know his standard. Like he's an elite player in this league, right? And unfortunately, that last game against LAFC, he just struggled for whatever reason, whether it was execution or it just wasn't his day, the ball wasn't going his way. I think he even probably would say that he did not have a great game. But this game, Rob, he was lights out, especially in the key moments where you needed him to be. I mean, if you really think about it, right? So I threw up the stat that we had 4 big chances. He actually was a major contributor. Actually, he was involved in all those 4 big chances. So obviously he created 2 chances in this game, right? So he created the chance for the first goal, or sorry, the second goal. And the other 2 goals, man, even for the first and second goals, he had the hockey assist. So I'm going to argue like he actually was involved in all 4 goals. And like I said, I think his performance was not only down to him, but I'm going to give a shout out to his other 2 midfielders, man. They did a heck of a job covering for him positionally, being at the right place to play little 1-2s to give him a little bit of more space. And yeah, just exceptional performance by Riqui. I definitely think he silenced a couple of his doubters for sure. But now it's consistency. Like that's the next step for this guy, and the evolution for him to become that DP level, sort of MVP level conversation, right? That MVP level tag. I want to see this consistency, and I think us as Galaxy fans, I think we have the right to expect this type of consistency. But I think he's up for it. He's that type of character. So hopefully we see it, man.
I don't think he started well. I even mentioned it to you. He gave away a couple of different balls in the beginning of the match, and I said, if this is going to be if they're going to win this game, he needs to get better. And then the second half happened, and I think your comment to me was, Greg must have told him something in the locker room at halftime, and if he said something, it was probably what he had been saying all week, which was just be patient, right? Guys, it's Chris from the chat says, Personally, when Riqui doesn't overthink it and sticks with the team tactics in our play style, he does great. Yeah, if
Great
the
point.
team, yeah, if the team is finding joy through the wings, let's just play through the wings, Papa. Let's just get it. Let's just feed Joseph. Let's just feed him, right?
Feed the
And
beast. Yeah. And he's starting to trust his teammates more, I think, Rob. And I think you saw that even between the first half and the second half, right? Remember, there was even a play in the first half where you and I were like, Papa, Julian is wide open on the left, look left. And then he turned the other
yeah,
way. Right. So, and so I think this is remember, Rob, this is what, 9 games into a new season. He's still trying to get used to his teammates, especially with the Killer Peas, right? So imagine when this chemistry towards the end of the season and in a playoff push, I think we're going to see that chemistry sort of full blown. So I think these are the growing pains, but it's good to see that he's making the on-field adjustments as the game goes on.
yeah, and it's great that they're growing pains and they're working through them immediately
And
and
we're
finding
still
a way to
winning.
win. Yeah,
Yeah,
and finding
exactly.
a way to win. Yeah. So I mean, and you mentioned him knowing his teammates more. You brought up the Killer Peas. I mean, you saw them. You saw him combine with Gabriel Pecky for the first goal, which Pecky shoots. Dayon gets the rebound, and that's where they get the first goal from. And then you saw him combine with Joseph Painso for the second and third goals. So yeah, the DPs are doing what they need to do by staying connected, um, finding each other, and it's great because we're coming off a year when those DPs weren't really on the field. I don't think there was. I think there's maybe one game where all three DPs played last year, and this
Right.
year they've started with each other multiple times already. And yeah, it's Chris is right. It's not even our final form, and there's still a window.
Eh,
There's still Jalen Neo to come in, still got assist to come in. Who knows what this team is going to be uh, running over on, like towards the end of the season. If right now they're going from 0 to 60 in 4 seconds, 0 to 60 in two towards the end of the year once they know each other, right? But
yeah.
part of that is Riqui feeding Joseph like we saw for the second and third goal, and then letting Joseph do what he does, man. And in the middle of the week, he had been spoken about as a MVP candidate for his form, and I think that he just lent more credence to this with his performance. 1 goal, 1 assist. He earns himself a place on the team of the week, the MLS team of the week. Um, and on this thing, I'm pretty sure that G's out there will agree with me that Riqui Puig and John McCarthy were snubbed on this one. So, but
Yep.
congratulations to JP for making the team of the week. And then I think we'll go ahead and listen to some comments from Greg all about his wonderful winger who scored his third goal and got his third assist.
Yeah, again, I thought a lot of things worked. Like I said, I think there's times when, not necessarily on Joseph, but there's times when we got to good spots and we had the advantage and we didn't really accelerate the game in that moment. We kind of paused the game in that moment. We should have then kept the foot on the accelerator and gone. And a couple of times we slowed it down. And if we would have kept the speed going, I think Joseph and a couple of the guys would have had a little more action in the box and in the final play a little bit more. So, but I thought his movement was smart. It's not a position he's played a ton of, but I thought his movement was smart. I thought his work rate was excellent. And then at the end of the game, we switched it and we put him back on the outside and moved Riqui to the middle and got him kind of flying from the outside, which is where the goal came from. And so, again, we played a little bit of the long game in this one and tried to take up some good positions for good stretches of the game, and then slide something and make a little bit of a change in the latter part of the game that when it was opening up to see if we could get Joseph facing forward a little bit more and running from wide positions to the inside, and he was able to benefit. And it was a hell of a pass from Riqui too to get him going.
Hey, big ups. I mean, he was asked to do a job, play through the middle, which you just heard Greg say that he hadn't done before, and he did it well. There was one chance in the beginning of the match, or I believe it was in the second half or towards the end of the first half, where he got the ball through the middle and he got it off to Gabriel Peck on the right, for Gabriel Peck to get a shot off. So he did pretty well in the middle. Obviously that's not where we have used him best so far. But what do you think, Ananda? Do you think he's earning these MVP shouts so far, or do you think it's too soon to tell?
No, I mean statistics wise too. Like he's been. It's funny because he's had a lot of, I would say, up and down games at this moment. You know, I would say he's sort of performed to that MVP type of level, probably I would say half of the games, but the statistics are good. And man, like I think the thing that excites me more is just how his skill set complements a guy like Riqui Puig or a guy like Gaston Brugman, who can make those line breaking passes. Just that Riqui ball, for example, that split literally 4 defenders with just that one play. And Rob, the big thing for me, and it was an interesting adjustment that Vanny made, but because you asked, or you just said just a moment ago, that he usually doesn't play the middle, or he doesn't seem to be like the most comfortable in the middle. But as I was mentioning before, I think him and Gabriel Peck were really occupying that right half space, right? And what was good about seeing him in that middle was, usually we see those sort of like him getting isolated on the wing and having to deal with the touchline and extra defenders. And then even like wingers or midfielders would drop back and they would double down on him, right? Or double team him. In this case, though, he was able to vary his runs. I think Greg made a really, really good point that his running and the spaces that he was taking up was really, really intelligent. And Rob, I'm going to pull up me and my stats, but I pulled up actually this heat map just to show you guys like the difference between this game and last game, and to show like how positionally, where Joseph Paintsel was in this game. This is where we need him to be during most games. So this is his heat map from the loss against LAFC versus the win. And look at that. Like that red zone on that right-hand side. And sorry for the audio listeners, I'm going to kind of narrate as best as I can here. On the left, you see his heat map, because remember, he was playing left wing at that point in a 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1. His heat map was mostly concentrated on that left side outside of the penalty box, sort of hugging that left touch line, sort of in that midway between the center circle and the opposition box, right? Versus this game, his heat map, or the red zone, was on that right side, almost within the 6 yard, or almost within the penalty yard box, on that right side. And I think the combination of, putting him in the middle, but also having him occupy that space when he moved out to the right-hand side, Robert, I think that made a huge difference. And man, you saw it, right, in the finishing and some of the spaces that we opened up. And I thought that was really interesting. So the more we can get him into that space, that's where we want him. In behind the defense, right into that penalty box, not hugging the touchline and not being isolated out on that wing.
Yeah, and then on the third goal, when he wasn't through, he made the right decision to pick his head up and lay it across the middle for Diego Fagundez to come and on the trailing run. So I think that's what the game plan has got to be right now, man. Like, just let this man eat. Joe Tutino, the great one himself, said, "Keep feeding Joe, and everyone will get theirs."
Totally
at first, when I read this, I thought he meant himself. Like, I was like, "Oh,
so did I.
I'll feed you, Joe. No worries, bro." But no, obviously he meant Joseph Paintsel, and yes, keep feeding this man. It's crazy to think that if he hadn't hit the post 3 times already, he'd have 6 goals and 3 assists right now. And then really the MVP chatter would be at a fervor for sure. But as it stands, he has 3 goals and 3 assists. And I mean, it was a week in which Will Kuntz propped him up as an MVP caliber talent. So and then he comes out and has a great performance like that. He was asked about it in the post-match presser, and he said about the links to him being MVP this year. It's something that every player would love to achieve. Whatever happens with MVP, goals and assists and everything, first It's the team. And the more the team succeeds, the more the player succeeds. Me being there and finding my name there is a plus for me and makes me happy and makes me work harder. I love it. Just keeping his head down, being humble and saying, hey, let's just keep working harder. We got some more to do. At the beginning of the season, I kept saying this one a lot. Job's not done.
Yep.
So
That's right.
only 8 games through. We're doing well, but job's not done. So anyway, on that one though, Ananda, job's not done, but it was a fantastic win, a much needed win, a statement win. And you know what? It was an important match. It was first versus second, So people that were like, oh, it's a whatever match, it's just against Vancouver. No, first versus second. They need to win these types of matches
Totally.
to be in amongst the elite teams in the league. I think it's, if not the best win of the season, definitely up there. I mean, like I mentioned, they were patient, they were professional, they controlled this match, and then when they needed to turn it on, they did with 2 goals in 2 minutes in the stage of the game where it really mattered. After the 80th minute, after they had done most of their job defensively, they said, hey, let's kick it up a notch and get these 2 goals. They did. And yeah, that's why I think maybe they're their best win of the season. What do you think, chat? Do you think this is the Galaxy's best win of the season? Do you think this is their most complete performance? Let us know what you think.
And let us know why too. Let us know why, because I thought that between this and SKC, those are probably my 2 top performances of the year. But I think, to your point, Robert, for me personally, this is the most impressive win because of how we controlled it, really, from minute 0 to minute 90. Even when Brian White scored that equalizer, I was like, I was feeling down, but I was like, you know what? The way this game's going, I feel like we haven't had another one in us. And credit to Greg Vanny, made the subs and we pulled it out. But I think just our performance level, I think that's what makes it the most impressive win for me this season versus, just really just a second half blitz on SKC, the SKC performance.
Yeah, man. So, that enough of us. Let's hear what you guys thought. We brought up some of our favorite tweets, tweet reactions of this match here. LA Galaxy 310 at LA Galaxy 310 says Sundays at the top hit different. Like I said, icy up in this piece right now, being all the way at the top. So
cold.
yes, es cold in here. Yeah. ¿Qué más, Ananda? ¿Qué más tienes? Ooh, B Loves Brian Nag says there's definitely going to be a big wave of new baby Galaxy fans being born in 9 months after last night's LA Galaxy win.
yeah.
And he says, "Uy, qué rico dicen." And then he has the screenshot, the gif of the "Here we go, Galaxy"
la madre.
from "I Love You, Man." Yeah, man, it's gonna be that kind of season where people are gonna be celebrating. At STO Bruin, Nick says Galaxy top of the West, despite playing 5 of 8 on the road, playing 2024 West leader Vancouver, the 2024 East leader Miami, playing last year's West season champ St. Louis, playing last year's MLS Cup runner-up LAFC, having 3 points stolen by bad DJ refs Miami and LAFC.
All great points.
All great.
Can't
points.
argue with that. Yep.
¿Qué más tenemos, Ananda? Ooh, at _ Leslie J. Shout out Leslie. She says, also, back is subjective. Is the LA Galaxy back to being a team under Bruce that gave us 2 back-to-back cups plus an amazing 2014 run? Question mark. She leaves that one out there for y'all. Is the LA Galaxy back to looking competent? Question mark. To make you believe that we can win after going down a goal or 2? Heck yeah, she answers on that one. I agree. I don't think there's been a match where I've been maybe except in the SKC for a moment where I've said, okay, they're down and they're out. Every time they've been down, I've said they can find themselves way back in this one. ¿Qué más, Ananda? ¿Qué más tenemos? Ooh, Ed the Zombie 13. At Ed the Zombie 13 says 2024 LA Galaxy making teams look like the 2016 to 2023 LA Galaxy. Yeah, I love it. You know what they've.
No, go ahead.
they've had enough of being the that team that everybody would go like, it's just the Galaxy, y'all.
This is the last one for you, Robert. This is my favorite one though, because we have someone that might be eating his words early in the season. Let's hit it.
Eating crow. I love it. Sasha has a weekly article, trending up, trending down, basically kind of format in this article. Has the Galaxy trending up finally after a very difficult schedule to start the season. He says in this article, LA stayed on 15 points and are tied for the Supporters Shield lead. The Galaxy still give up too many chances, and Greg Vanney will work hard to fix that. But with this midfield and attack, and then here's the kicker. He said it, y'all. The Galaxy are back and poised to challenge for trophies again. Tony Crespo says the Galacticos are back. 8 games in, a month and a half in. I told y'all, ask me in a month and a half. Yo, they haven't won anything yet. That comes at the end of the year, but they need to play like this if they want to get there. So, hey, they're definitely on their way back. I don't know if they're totally 100% there, but
yeah, I would agree with that.
Let's see where they are at midpoint of the season, right?
Yeah.
So it's great to see Sasha kind of bring it back around and say, you know what, they're back. My bad. Yeah. So, Ananda, what was your moment of the match in this one?
Yeah, well, we were putting up the graphic now. Of course, LA Galaxy gave it to Diego Fagundez. Of course, that was an amazing moment for him and his career, the 70-70 club. My moment of the match, Robert, was actually, we talked about it earlier. It was that J-Mac save on that first goal that led to the first goal for the LA Galaxy. We haven't talked about J-Mac a lot, but I think he has been I think he's been underrated this year. I think he's been an underrated pickup for this team. We didn't know, we knew he was a professional keeper. Like, he has a lot of experience, but he was always, the number 2. He was always floating around between like a backup and he was mostly a backup at LAFC. And we didn't know what to expect other than he's a veteran, experienced keeper, right? But man, he's been very, very good this year. And on that particular play, I mean, Brian White was clean through on goal. J-Mac, I think it was a kick save, right? He stuck his leg out, and it led to the counter going the other way and the LA Galaxy first goal. So had J-Mac not created that save, I mean, 1-0 down, Robert, could have been a completely different picture for this game. Right. You would have seen Vancouver more withdrawn, stayed back, and try to hit us on the counter, sort of played the game that LAFC played us when they went up 1-0. So that for me was my moment of the match, because those other things after would not have happened had J-Mac not made that save.
Nah, you're absolutely right. And you know what? I do have, a couple of moments that turned this match. I mean, Joseph switching to the wing after playing through the middle. Dayon's goal, him being in the right place at the right time. But yeah, ultimately it's McCarthy saves. He keeps us in this, and if he doesn't, Galaxy are 1 or 2 down before they have a chance to really get going themselves. So yeah, I agree with that.
Well, and the self-inflicted save too. Remember that one where she just booted it out, and my god, that
where you and
disaster.
I were both like, "What is he doing?" No,
and then he got yeah, exactly.
There you go.
You walked into that one, yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Chris has a question though. So he says, "Okay, question: how far do we predict our team will go for Leagues Cup? Given that it's fast approaching, I know our squad will want to continue making a statement." Yeah, I mean, Leagues Cup is what? Is it August or September, Rob? I can't remember. It's still a ways away, and I think we've got a lot of. I mean, summer transfer windows opening up pretty soon here too, and
yeah, there might be some new faces.
Yeah, so I think too early to tell, Chris. Good question, but I think we've got to see the state of our squad. We have to make sure there's no major injuries, and then I think we can make a better assessment as we head into Leagues Cup. But given the form we are now, yeah.
I like the question though, because I don't feel like they took it that seriously last year, and I feel like if they want to keep taking on this mantle of yes, they're back, yes, they're a team that's going to be among the elite teams again in MLS, then they need to take these things seriously. This is an international competition against Mexican teams that are going to be a totally different ball game. So I guess all I can say is answer it like I can't predict how far they'll go, but I know they're probably going to take it very seriously. and
Yep.
they should. They haven't won anything in a decade, right? So
Yep.
why not start with a cup like this?
Yep.
You
It's
know,
been a long
it's
time since we won silverware. So, hey, we got to take all these competitions seriously for sure. Yep, agree with that. So, should we hit defending the badge, Rob? It's that time in the show, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's been a long time since the Galaxy have won silverware, but it hasn't been that long since some of our candidates have won defending the badge. We have 4 for y'all. We have Julian Aude, we have John McCarthy, Riqui Puig, and Joe Pants. Now, one of your candidates here, Julian Aude, he had a hockey assist on the first 2 goals. That's the pass before the pass. He had an 85% pass accuracy rating, 3 chances created, 1 big chance created, 3 clearances, 3 interceptions, 3 recoveries, and 3 successful take-ons. More and more, he's becoming a part of the attack while also doing his job on defense. Speaking of doing your job, John McCarthy records 6 saves in this win. We already said if he doesn't make these saves, the Galaxy don't have the opportunity to come back and get those goals and get this win. He made those key saves when it mattered. One of them being a one-on-one when it really should have just been the White Wolf, just putting that one away. Shout out to John McCarthy for his stellar match. The Prince who was promised, Riqui Puig, he had 2 assists on the match, completed 88 of 101 passes for an 87% pass accuracy rating. He completed the most passes of anyone on the pitch with those 88, won 5 of 8 duels, 4 recoveries, completed 3 dribbles. Again, he had his doubters, had his critics. He rose to the occasion. He now leads the league with 657 passes and 859 touches. And of course, Joe Pants, he made the team of the week. He finished with a goal and an assist. He had 3 chances created, 4 of 7 duels won, 1 interception, 3 recoveries, and is in the conversation for MVP. I mean, how long has it been since we've said a Galaxy player is in the conversation for MVP? Joseph Paintsill is our 4th candidate for defending the badge. Ananda, who are you giving yours to this week?
So I am going to give mine to Ricky Rocket, aka Ricky Razzle Dazzle, aka the Prince who was promised, aka Young Jimmy Neutron, and all of those other nicknames that we've given him.
Girl.
Man, to me, I think that, I mean, look, this was a tough one, and I think I saw even in the poll that we put up in X, some of the guys were saying, is there a vote for all button? Because they all had a heck of a game. The team had a really, really solid performance, but I think Ricky this game, I got to give him defending the badge because he did this, or he had this performance, I think, to, amongst all the criticism, as you mentioned, Robert, he rose to the occasion. He did it under all that pressure that not only our fans were giving him, the media was giving him, people were doubting him. And like you said, he wasn't having the greatest first halves, although I think, in my opinion, it was just passes that just weren't connecting for him. It was just a pace off or just a little bit off, but he made those adjustments in the second half. And boy, we realized the type of player that we have, Robert, when you see like passes of pure filth and just, in the words of the great Ray Hudson, right? Just absolutely magisterial. And we're lucky, I think, to have a top level talent like that. And in this particular case, he rose to the occasion and he was the difference maker. And this is what we signed these DPs for, Robert. They need to be the difference makers. Yeah. And we are only going to go as far as our DPs are take us. And Wilkins knew that, I think, when he put this team together. And now we're seeing it. And Riqui, for this particular game, he was a difference maker. And that's why I'm giving him defending the badge.
Yeah, definitely. El Vato no se rajó for sure. Like, he stepped up and he was big. I mean, he's a small cat, very, very small in stature, but I mean, he carries himself big. Yeah, he carries himself big. And he, not only that, he wants to put this team on his shoulders. And we saw that with the 2 passes. However, that's not my pick. That's not my pick. And I mean, it was really hard for me to pick between Julian Aude and John McCarthy. And really quick, guys, if you haven't given us your choice for defending the badge yet, go ahead and do so. Drop them in the chat. Let us know who you're defending the badge winner is. Tony Crespo says McCarthy. You know what? It was hard for me to fight against that. Kick a ball pod says Painso, Joe Panza, go and assist. Hard to say
Can't
no.
argue with that. Yep.
Out of the other three, we expect them. It's Chris says out of the other three, we expect them to put up the numbers and do what we are paying them to do. Auda has found another gear and has been flourishing. And yeah, I can't disagree. I mean, I got to pick Julian Auda. He's been killing it, man. Greg and I spoke at the CVI before the season started, and he said, yes, we know what he can do offensively. Now he just needs to marry those two things with his defensive game and stay focused, stay on 100% of this game. And he's doing it. I mean, he's doing the defensive work. He's locking people down. And he's doing it on the offensive end as well. Again, he had the 2 hockey assists in this one. So, yeah, everyone expects
team high 3 chances created this game, Robert, along with JP. So the kid's putting it work. He's developing into a really good young player.
And Tony Crespo says very big improvement from last season for sure. Much maligned he was last season for being too small, for not settling into the league. But this year, I mean, he's probably one of the best defenders, best young defenders in the league right now. I think he leads in the top 3 for minutes played for young defenders right now. So again, these other cats, they deserve recognition, yes, but we expect this from him. We expect Riqui Puig to pull these passes. We expect Joseph Painso to score these goals. John McCarthy's a fine goalkeeper. We expect him to make these saves, right? Julian Auda, again, young cat, settling in this country, big improvement from last year. He's my defending the badge winner, but
we're both wrong.
But we're both wrong. You know what? The people have spoken. The people have spoken, y'all. Do you want to do this one? Do you want to do this one, Ananda? Should I give you
I did the last one. You did this one. I'm gonna let you do this one because I did the last one. Well,
okay.
Trade.
Well, all right. So this week, you're defending the badge winner after 9 million votes in the polls, with 38% of the vote for his performance and getting 2 assists. Riqui Puig wins the defending the badge week 9. And I believe
I was right. I was right then. Yeah, I'll take that back. I was right. No, I'm just kidding.
And it's Chris says it's rigged. You know what? I can't vouch for the integrity of this vote. It's Chris because Ananda made this slide right here, so I don't really know if it's true or not. But I'm gonna go ahead and trust his word. Riqui Puig, I think that's his second this year.
It's actually his first, Robert. So I'm going to give you. So
wow.
we need to make a graphic for this, by the way, and that is on us, Lacuna Galaxians. But Mark Delgado is in the lead with 2 defending the badges: Aude, Peck, Cáceres, JP, Cerrillo, and Riqui, all with 1.
Ramizes dropping into the chat says we need this Riqui every game. I don't disagree. This is the Riqui Puig that we were talking about, needs to be on the field if the Galaxy are going to have success. And it's Chris.
It's Chris appreciates my stats. See that he said the people who voted haven't watched this podcast to learn this stat. Oh man. See, so at least someone appreciates my stat. Alexander, and it's Chris. There you go. That makes me happy.
I know I appreciate him. I just don't nerd out on him as much as you do. But one thing I'm nerding out on for sure, where the standings are, because the first place Galaxy are at the top of it. It's cold up there, y'all. Through 8 matches played in 2024, they hold a 4-1-3 record, 17 goals scored, 12 against. They're on 15 points, first place in the Western Conference. They're tied first in the Supporter Shield, second only on goal difference. They're averaging 1.88 points per game. And here's the crazy one, Ananda. And I fact checked this one a couple of times with you yesterday because I was like, I don't want to be talking out of my the wrong side of my face right here, right? But last year, it took this team 18 games to get to these 15 points that they're on right now. 18 games, 10 more games it took them to get to the 15 points. They finally achieved their 15th point last year in a 0-0 tie versus Colorado on June 4th, 2023. And again, we're seeing the progression of this team. I mean, that's a 10-game pickup. That's huge.
Look at you with the stats. That's a great stat too, by the way, because I was like, when you said that to me, I was like, is that right? But yeah, I mean, we were that atrocious last year. But as we always say on the show, I've said it from the very beginning, man, what a difference a year makes. I'm at a different place with this team too mentally. Like, I feel like whenever there's adversity or something happens in the game, other than like what you said, that SKC game, that first half, it was not looking good. And I think that was the only time I felt this year. I was like, I think we're going to fold in this one. I felt like we've been in every game. We've been super competitive. We felt like a well-organized drill team, other than set pieces, which there's always room for improvement, right? But yeah, I have a lot of confidence in this team, man. And this start just proves it to us. And I see it too, all along the Galaxy Fear, everyone on X, everyone in the socials. I see it. I feel it. I see it in the media as well. People like Sasha, we're turning them into believers. Man, I think we're just let's just enjoy and let's ride this wave, Robert. Like you said, though, job's not done, but man, what a heck of a start.
Job's not done.
Yep. What a heck of a start.
Yeah, 8 games in, we're doing well, and someone pointed out we probably should have at least 3 more points in this one, maybe as much as 5 more points, right? If you consider the 2 points dropped against Miami, the 3 points quote unquote stolen against LAFC, should be 5 more points, right? They should be on 20 points at the moment. Unfortunately, they're not. They're on 15, but they're still in first place. And things are going swimmingly, especially with the schedule that the Galaxy have coming up. They have a couple of on paper winnable games. Ananda, the next match is El Cali Clásico, the 100th edition. Look at them trying to bite us and trying to throw a 100th edition thing. I mean, our 100th edition show is coming up, so they just decided to go ahead and do it at 100th edition Cali Clásico.
Yeah.
But did you know that we're going to have the Alex Morgan on the next show?
Which Alex Morgan?
The Alex Morgan, the one from Quake's Epicenter, the editor from Quake's Epicenter, yeah, and co-host of the.
You had me there. You had me
there. Yeah. The Alex Morgan. So look out for this Cali Classico preview that's going to be happening. The Galaxy will face San Jose Earthquakes at home on the 21st on Sunday at 5:15 p.m. Like I mentioned, we will have our special guest Alex Morgan. No, not that one. Sorry to disappoint you guys, but we are going to bring you a good show with Alex Morgan on Thursday, April 18th at 9.
He said, "Damn, got me too."
Got him, champ. On Thursday, April 18th, we'll have Alex Morgan on with us at 9 p.m. He'll break down the Earthquakes and why the Earthquakes are so not good this year. Man, I mean, I shouldn't feel bad, but I do lightweight feel bad because the Galaxy were there last year, so I know it's rough. But we'll be there speaking with Alex Morgan. He'll bring us everything we need to know about the Earthquakes, and we'll bring you everything you need to know about this Cali Classico coming up. That'll be on Thursday. And Ananda, anything else to add before we get on out of here tonight?
I do want to bring this last comment up because it's something that you and I talked about. And this year has been like a year of breaking hexes and breaking streaks and all that stuff, right? So Ramizes here says, when the team is rocking and rolling, the rest of the schedule looks easy. And yeah, that's a great point. And Robert, if you look at the schedule, the next 2 games are, like you said, against the Smurfs, the Cali Classico, and then Austin away, of course, which you and I will be at that game. And I walked into that one again.
Yeah,
but do you realize, Robert, that if we get these next 2 wins, it would be the first 3-game winning streak under head coach Greg Vanney?
Yep. That's what it is.
We got to make it happen. I'm gonna leave you guys with that. So let's break another hex.
He could have gotten it against LAFC. Did not happen. But now he's going for it again. Of course, the San Jose Earthquakes stand in the way. That would be game 2. And of course, if the Galaxy win against Austin away, that would be game 3 for Greg Vanney's first 3-game winning streak. Man, exciting. 2 winnable games, exciting times. I mean, they win both those games. They're still at the top of the table. man, I'm on cloud nine, man. I'm jazzed up. It's great to be
enjoy
doing
it.
this
Let's
podcast
enjoy
this
this.
year while they're on the uptick. It's great to be covering this team this year while they're on the uptick. Past couple years have been a little difficult. You know, I mentioned to you it was always coming in to, you know, sit down to write an article and being like, they lost again. You know what? Not so this year. They're doing it. I've said it a couple times already. They're standing on that business. First place Galaxy are doing it. And before we get out of here, just want to say thank you again to everybody that listened to this episode, everybody that was hanging out with us, everybody that contributed in chat and let us know how they were feeling about defending the badge winners, letting us know how they felt about this game with their one word match reaction. Go ahead and hang with us again on Thursday. Of course, if you are subscribed to this channel, you already know that that's happening. If you aren't, you can go ahead and do so at youtube.com/@Lacuna Galaxiana. You can also go ahead and stay abreast of our live match reaction. That's happening after the Cali Clásico on Monday, April 22nd at 9 p.m. Of course, we'll be here always to go ahead and bring you everything that's happening in Galaxylandia. Ananda, I think, you know, one thing left to say.
Let's do it.
Thanks, guys. First place Galaxy. Let's go. G